I think the inspiration really should, the inspiration for sure for Harold happened within him. I was just a catalyst to move those things forward. Sometimes, MLOVE, you may hear the word namaste. Does anyone here know what namaste means? Hands up. Oh, great. This is really handy then. So I'll start by saying namaste. The divinity within me salutes the divinity within you. It's something quite important. You don't need to take it as a religious statement, but it's a statement of respect, a mutual exchange of knowing that regardless of hierarchy in society, we are actually equal. And so throughout the day, as we move forward throughout the open space sessions and throughout the speakers that we hear, if you ever feel the need to say hello or goodbye, and you feel that you would like to be inside a respectful environment, then starting and ending with namaste is extremely useful and respectful thing to do. The last time out, I spoke about the traits, the personality traits of people that can change the world. Arpe says that there were seven traits, and I could fit them into 140 characters. There are 11 traits, and I'm not sure I can fit them into 140 characters, but you're very generous to say that we can. Heather drew this fantastic picture, and we have Heather's colleague here from ImageThink as well today, who's drawing right now. However, today, to kick things off, I'm going to talk about things that we actually have, something that we already have inside us. So rather than the aspirational things from last year, I'm going to talk about things that we have inbuilt inside ourselves. So rather than things that we necessarily need to aspire to and acquire, these are things that we actually already have. We just need to harness these things already. But let's start at the beginning. We're here to discuss, in my belief, the MLOVE is to discuss and discover our passions and our inspirations, enabled by mobilized technology. And I say mobilized rather than mobile, rather than pieces of plastic. My view of mobile is actually around mobility, which is the obvious maturation of all technology, in fact, that we all have. And we're going to be challenged over the next few days. We're going to be challenged ourselves. We will challenge ourselves, we will challenge others, but we'll also be challenging the technology that we rely on to deliver our dreams and our ambitions that we create in our open spaces and our future cubes and in our heads while we're listening to the inspirational speakers that we have. When I say we will challenge ourselves, our experiences, our social influences and the decision-making processes will all be working overtime during the next few days. Under the surface, for any people who are fans of cognition and how we actually work, we have a whole bunch of conflicting systems in constant flux and constant argument. And so when I was at college studying human psychology many years ago, it was something that I always found incredibly fascinating, how our brains are working like a silent committee in massive arguments. And so when we find things challenging over the next few days, that's what's going on underneath the skin, is that we're arguing against ourselves, against our beliefs, and we'll look at that in a second. But when I say we will challenge technology, interestingly enough, throughout the history of MLOVE, we've often been requiring technology to act in a more human way. So from experiencing every MLOVE and being one of the first people in a room of, I think it was 15 or 16 people in some weird ass hotel in Munich or some kind of weird thing. It was very odd. Even then, right at the start, however many years ago it was, our requirements from our working groups ended up with our desire for technology to work more humanely or humanly. And it's a pleasure, by the way, an honor to speak before Thomas, who's going on directly after me, from Wired and from other things, as he will explain. In last month's Wired, David Eagleman recently said that technology tends to be composed of dictatorial systems, dictatorial hierarchies that are too polite to argue. In fact, there is no argument because there is a leader and then there's a follower in technology. It's kind of like systems where one is better than two and two is better than three, etc. And it's extremely unlike our democratic architecture that I speak of our silent committee. So the technology that we find challenging is quite unlike how humans work. So basically, we will face challenges within ourselves due to our internal conflicts. and we will be challenged with technology due to technology's lack of conflict. So we have this kind of juxtaposition of conflict and challenge that I love seeing the outcome of after 2 days or 3 days. And when the fire is burning at the end, the conversations that happen that you wouldn't have thought would ever existed beforehand. So now to the thing that's core to every single one of us. And I don't mean every single one of us as the company, every single one of us. I genuinely mean every single one of us inside this room and actually in civilization. Martin Novak talks about a component within ourselves that is fundamental to the development of mankind. In fact, it is the core lifeblood of evolution for successful humankind moving forward. And that, as you can see from the topic of the book, is cooperation. Definition of cooperation is here. So it's the process of working and acting together, which can be accomplished by both intentional and non-intentional agents. Now, we often use the term cooperation. Some people use the term collaboration, etc. And Novak speaks of the fact that cooperation actually can involve collaboration, it can involve working together, it can involve working apart. But the literal cooperation of ourselves is what Novak says is is the leading development features of evolution. It's dependent on a high degree of selflessness. And as one of my favorite authors, the Pulitzer Prize winner Edith Wharton wrote, you can either be the light or the candle or the mirror that reflects it. So during the next few days, some of us will be in a leading position, some of us will be in a following position, and it's useful for people who are normally dominant to maybe take a step back and see how we can facilitate other people to rise to the surface, which I categorically didn't do last night at the drum circle. And I'm kind of almost speaking to myself when I say that those with the natural dominant traits for the next few days would do well to enable other people who wouldn't necessarily be the candle to be the candle. And we, as the dominant people, often in society can maybe be mirrors rather than the candles themselves. To some, the Darwinian realization of the survival of the fittest could be interpreted as a proxy for uncooperative behavior. So when we hear of this survival of the fittest, the best, the most superior race and the most superior genes rising to the top, some people could think that actually is in conflict with someone else below. But actually now it's been realized that survival of the fittest is actually the fittest part is the fittest in cooperation. And it's a fact now. It's discovered to be an absolute fact. So rather than us being the best and the singular and the dominant, it turns out actually that to be fit, evolutionary terms, is to actually be fitness in cooperating successfully. We're literally built to be super cooperators. Inside our DNA, inside our structure, we're actually programmed to be incredibly good at cooperating. And it is now common thought across new scientists and other people, other thinkers, that actually our survival is critically dependent on our ability to cooperate. So the question is, for the next few days, will we cooperate successfully? And actually for civilization in general, without making too much of a big point, whether or not we as humans in the world will actually make use of our inbuilt innate ability to cooperate? Or will we not, as humans, use that and destroy ourselves? So ironically, the next few days of MLOVE is like a microcosm of civilization. It either ends with factions that don't progress, or it ends with incredible creations that come from cooperation. The opportunity here is to use our inbuilt capability in harmony with each other, but also with cooperative technology. That's, in a nutshell, what MLOVE means to me. And my passion picture is tattooed large on my arm, which is that whole statement of harmony. I believe in it so much. It's what my entire life stands for. So I have faith that during these few days, that we can actually inspire each other, we can work and play together productively. And so I'll challenge us all to harmoniously cooperate as we move forward. After the last plane's left and the castle is empty and the fire has gone out, everyone's gone home, I'd like us all, or I'd challenge us all, or I'd ask us all to take the cooperative behavior that we've had and infect the rest of society as best we can with that moving forward. And I'll finish on a quote by Bertrand Russell, which I think says everything that I needed to say. The only thing that will redeem mankind is cooperation. And we're in the space to do so. And I wish us all the best in our successful cooperation. Namaste.